going to do welcome to the Wealth MasterClass hosted by BZ Advisory. Today we are going to talk about how we're going to get to know ourselves, what influences our spending, what is it generally, if we know what influences our spending and we can tell where we can get the most value for our money. So today, that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to know ourselves. I hope you know that your personalities do influence the way you spend money. Yes. So rule of thumb for Zoom meetings is that usually questions are at the end. If you have a comment midway, if you have a thought, you can just type through the chat. And yeah, we'll to go. So today, this is me. I like to introduce myself and so that people get to know me, get a bit of context. My name is Amina Babina. I am an NBS student at MOVES. I also teach finance at MOVES. I like makeup, I like clothes, I like money, and anything that makes my life easier. So that's technology. Then what do I cherish? I cherish my friends and my family. They usually those people always come first. And then what are my values? Integrity, honesty, family, and God. Integrity because stay true to yourself. Your reputation. So stay true and do what you say you're going to do. So what are some of my weaknesses? I am a bit emotional. I am working on that. I'm getting my emotional intelligence up and a bit forgetful and sometimes extreme, Sometimes people wonder why you tell people your weaknesses. This is something about self-awareness that I've learned over the years, that when you are more aware and you accept, it's easier to work on yourself if you want. And also it is no one can use it against you because you know it is, right? So if back then someone would come and tell me, oh, you're too emotional, and I would, like, it would be an outburst of, no, you're kidding, you're lying, I'm not. But then I realized on my self-awareness journey that I actually am emotional. So I started paying attention to myself and how I feel and how certain situations make me feel, which has also helped my money situation so much. If you'd like to type out in the chat about yourself, you're welcome. Please, I would like to get to know you a little bit before we start. Or you can just unmute yourself and speak. Hello. My name is Amina. Bureau Zainab is the name of the advisory. It's it feels like a more personal touch when you name it like that. Oh, okay. Sorry, I couldn't do it, so I kind of part of what my name is very excited to be part of it. Very passionate about this decision because I think it's a place where everyone and that's what I do. So I couldn't have effort to make sure that it's done and that people want for me and protect you. I'm going to request you to just repeat and also check your audio. Okay, my audio is on. Can you hear me now? It seems like your microphone is covered. Okay, let me do.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, that's perfect.
That's much better.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was saying that I came in a little bit late. So that's why I didn't hear the first part of your presentation and I didn't get your name right. Sorry about that.
It's all right.
And my name is Tracy Akandinda.
Nice to meet you,
I
Tracy.
I do Nice to meet you as well. I do marketing for work. I do marketing. I also have a side business that I run online. Specifically got to know about you through Flavia's interview on her YouTube channel. So I went on and followed you, and then that's when you advertised for this thing, and I registered for it. So I'm very passionate about making the right money decisions because I've been in a place where, at the time, the people in charge of my money, of giving me money, okay, taking care of me, made the wrong financial decisions, and that got us in a very bad place. Because of that, I learned better to get as much knowledge as I can about personal finance so that I make better choices from what they made and also teach others.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much, Tracy, for sharing. Thank you.
You're
That's
welcome.
I think we're starting. I hope you're going to be here for the next 3 weeks too, so that we can get
Yes,
everything in one. Anyone else want to
definitely.
introduce themselves so that we
Hello.
get to know each other? Yes, hi.
Yeah, I'm Kamaru Nitwe. I'm a civil
Mm.
engineer and I work with a civil society organization in Kabale. My relationship with money, I'll mention my age so that there is a correlation between what I'm about to say. I'm 26 and my relationship with money is one of, yeah, because until graduating, I had never worked for money. So I even feared
Mm,
my first salary because I didn't know what to do with it. Because I knew if I mishandled money, I would grow up and retire to nothing and be very
mm,
miserable. Or if I utilize, I didn't know what to do with it. So
mm.
I also got to know about you from Flavia. So I'm very passionate about preparing for retirement, Ali, and
Yeah.
also having enough money to live a comfortable life, and to also, I like giving and to be able to have enough resources to share with others. My weaknesses, there is one I relate to, is that I'm sometimes extreme, and I also cherish family and friends. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Arlene, for sharing. Um, Seems like we have more in common. Anyone else wants to share, or should we just start?
Hi everyone, my name
Hi,
is
Jessica.
Jessica Kusime. A finance person. Okay, I'm a finance analyst and credit analyst in the making. I work with Bailey Advisory. How I got to know about Amina, we went to the same school. I think that was high school. We both went to Green Hill and later to East High. What why I'm passionate about personal finance is one, I am very passionate about building wealth and financial freedom. And then the other thing is that I've to a certain extent dealt with black tax, and it doesn't settle well with me. So I don't want to impose the same on my children. So I am very deliberate about planning for my retirement, planning for financial independence, and any bit of knowledge that can help me get there is highly appreciated. So I'm excited to get to learn more and see how I can practically implement this knowledge to for me to acquire financial freedom. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Jessica, for sharing. So I guess we should start. Thank you. We cannot be able to get to everyone because it's already 7:20. So let's start. With the slides, yeah, but this is going to be talk. We're going to talk because I've also gotten to know and understand myself by using these things. I'm trying to figure it out, right? The one thing normally with personal finance, people just dive into the money and the investment, which I think is wrong because our personalities really do affect how we spend our money. Our goals really do affect how we spend our money. So sometimes, when we are younger, one of my friends told me a story about how on his first day at work, his boss, he went out Then his boss called him the following day, and he was making so much money, right? For such a young, at such a young age, at about 25. Boss called him and told him, you know what, I'm going to invest 60% of your money for you, the rest you can go and drink. And then he was working in Kenya at that time. And then when he left, he had so much money and he decided, you know what, let me leave it there and it just grows. So he goes like, no, it was the best. He's about 32, 33 now. He says it was one of the best decisions of his that was ever made, even if it wasn't his, but he thanks the lady who made it for him because she knew, you know what, you're going to spoil your money. You're going to ruin your money. So I try to do this with us young people so that people do not end up, if we can avoid ending up in a weird place or not even saving for retirement, which is one of the biggest issues with the older generation. So financial literacy and financial planning. Financial literacy is really possessing skills and knowledge to help you make informed and effective decisions. The idea here is informed because we all make financial decisions, right? You need to make something informed. You need to know. So that means you need to have knowledge about what you're going to choose in between. So are you going to buy a car or are you going to save maybe for like a house or your phone? You need to have knowledge about why you want it, how much it is for you to make an informed decision. And effective means it will work, right? It will work and it will help you achieve whatever you want to achieve. Then financial planning is a step-by-step approach to meet one's goals. So for example, if your goal is retirement, which I believe us young people should really get into, is how do you build that plan for you to get to that goal? The first thing we'll do is maybe assess how much you're spending now, try to figure out how much it will be, see if you have children, the expenses at that time, and then we see what is the number that you need to invest right now for you to have the money you need for retirement. If you want to buy a car, the same thing. How much do you need? We're going to look at all of this in here. So this is the format of my presentation. We're going to talk about, I think the first thing we've done, what and why financial planning, then the overview of financial planning. We get to know ourselves. This is you're going to assess yourself and think and figure out, do I resonate with each personality that is in here? And then see, have you received what you want in life at this point in time? If not, how do I get there? Or how do I be better? And how do you make sure you stay on track? Because if you're going to set financial goals, if you're going to achieve your retirement goals, you need to start by setting them and knowing what is going to stand in your way and how you can move past it. So the whole idea of financial planning starts with self-discovery. You need to figure out, who am I? Who am I in this sense? How do I react to different things? How do I react when someone makes me angry? Normally people go to the bar to drink to forget problems, but that problem is still going to be there if you don't deal with it. There is a study from Harvard that says that emotions make us more likely to spend recklessly. Extreme emotions generally. So extremely sad, extremely angry, or extremely happy. You can be so excited and you just go and decide, let me go and spend all of this money. I don't care what happens, let me just go and spend all of it. So you need to ask yourself, how do I react to certain things and how should I be reacting? There is something called cognitive control that talks about the red light, the traffic lights, red, orange, and green. One, red, stop. If you're angry, if you're emotional, if you're going to do something, first stop. Orange, think about it. And green, what are the consequences of everything that can happen? Then choose the best decision. So after figuring out who you are, you need to assess yourself. Where am I at this point in time? Where am I and where do I want to go? If you're where you wanted to be, well, great. But the issue is, if you do not really strive, some people go like, I've achieved all of my goals. you become comfortable. Unless you become comfortable, there's always something else to do. You can read a new book, you can try out something, learn how to cook something different. Like, seek to learn, even if it's not just like all of this knowledge, seek to learn something. And then the final step is find the knowledge for you to actually achieve your goals. And you've done that by logging on here. Thank you for logging on, and because it shows how dedicated you are to your financial journey. Then who am I? So what are your values and what do you love most? What do you cherish as a human being? I told you I cherish my friends and my family. Oh, I also cherish my makeup. So I spend so much money on my makeup. So what do you as a human being cherish, right? Some people cherish cars and then they collect cars, they spend their money on cars. Some people cherish homes, some people cherish shoes. What do you, Jessica, cherish? What are your core values? Because these things dictate the way you spend. If you enjoy having a good time with your friends, with your family, you're going to spend more on your family. Bimukama told us that he likes to spend time with his friends and his family, and he likes to give. You're going to see that there's a personality like that. You like to give, you like to spend time, so you like to spend money. You don't find anything wrong with spending money on your family. So you need to figure out, who am I and what do I love? What are my values, my ethics? So another thing is, who are you? Money personalities. These really just talk about how different people spend money, because you can be an introvert and extrovert. I feel like these days people are coming up with like, is it extroverted, introvert? I don't know, something like that. But who are you according to all of this, these money personalities? The saver, right? A saver gets a rush from saving. They like to save, so they do, and these people incur debt. It's a sense like they are so proud when they save their money and they achieve whatever they've achieved. The one thing with them is they're usually organized and they rarely do impulsive purchases. So these are people who are really usually think through their decisions. They always have a budget and they always stick to that budget. However, the problem is they may be called cheap because they're always trying to find new ways, sorry, not even new ways, like cheaper ways to get something. If you've seen that meme of that the gentleman with his house, of I know an architect in the neighbor's house, I know one that's cheaper. That's a saver. You're always trying to save. So sometimes it may be called cheap and you always resist to spend. The other money personality is a spender. This forget a rush from buying things. It doesn't matter the cost, even if it's like 100 shillings. They get a rush. They just want to spend money. They want the money to go, right? These are the people, it's in the bank account, what is it doing there? They find the process of buying very fun, though they may not even like the item that they bought as much. They enjoy buying. These are people who like spending. Let's go out somewhere and spend money, They live in the moment and then they give a lot to charity. I guess you can identify with yourself now. They give a lot to charity. They like to spend. One of the weaknesses of these people is that they can be impractical, in a sense that you just keep on buying, no matter what's going to happen to you, right? You're not really thinking about the future. And then you tend to break the budget. You make a budget, and most of us are guilty of this because honestly, keeping a budget is a bit hard. You make a budget and then you break it, you go out of budget and you just don't have any money anymore. And then the other thing is they never try to find a good deal. It's okay, it's 100K, right? Even if they can get it at 50, they don't care. So these people, it's very hard for them to differentiate between needs and wants. Then the other personality is a risk taker. These are people who are very impulsive in nature, but then they always go with their gut. If it doesn't feel right, they are not going to do it. These are people who like to gamble on it. Like, what's the next big thing that's going to happen here, right? Where can I make money? Where can I make a buck from? The issue is with these people is that they can be blinded by the possibility of something, like something that may not happen, but okay, it may happen, daydreaming generally. And they are very, very impatient because they are quick to make decisions and they usually know exactly what they want. They are very impatient. So now imagine having a spender and a risk taker as a couple. It's one of them will get frustrated. Actually, a spender and the next person, one of the flyers. Then the other person is a security seeker. These people, all they care about is, am I going to be secure? Right? Will I have enough money for retirement? Will I have enough money in case this goes wrong? And normally, after COVID, I'm sure some people have gone like, you know what, I cannot do this. I need to have some money in case something goes wrong, because you never know. These security seekers, usually they are prepped for anything. Whatever comes, we are good. I have, like, nothing's going to shake this table, right? And then they value order and predictability. They want certainty. On the other side, the world is very, very uncertain. We don't know what's going to happen even in the next 1 hour. The problem with security seekers is they make decisions relying on fear. So they miss out on money. If you know the phrase, scared money don't make no money. If you're scared of investing and taking risks, you're not going to make money, right? Then they can be controlling because they're trying to make sure, you know what, I need to have what I need to have money. So they're going to tell you, know what, do not spend on that, do not spend on that. So it's a bit, imagine now a security seeker and a spender. A spender who wants to just blow money. This one wants to keep money and make sure they're what? They're okay. Then the other one is a flyer. A flyer is someone who doesn't really care about money. They're not motivated by money, right? They really have no attachment to money. They don't care. And funny thing, usually these people make so much money. So if you've seen like groups of people where they say, you know what, that man has so much money, that lady has so much money, but she doesn't really care about it. She doesn't care. All she cares about are her people, her friends. She doesn't care. The issue with these people is they're usually absent-minded, and when it's time for you guys to make a decision on your finances, on your future, they are never there. They don't want to participate because they're not really, like, they don't want to be involved generally. And so they had to keep in the picture. So if you are, the burden falls on you in case you are in a relationship. I keep on talking about relationships because at the end of the day, most of us are going to grow up and we're going to have to share our finances or share our lives with someone, right? So if you have people who are the opposite of you, if you have a flyer, the burden of planning for your family will fall on you, unless you're a security seeker who likes to control every situation. You would not what? You'd not want to deal with a flyer. So the financial planning process really deals with assessment, assessing yourself, setting your goals, and implementing. So we've discovered ourselves, we know who we are. So how do we assess ourselves? So you can assess yourself using net worth or a scale. When you're assessing yourself or a scale, like if you say you want to save, and you say, how are you going to know that you've achieved your goal? Maybe you'll say, I'll save 3 times a month, or I'll save 6 times a year. So that's how you assess yourself. You will have to set a benchmark on something that you can compare with, which you believe, not assume, is success for you, is a goal for you. So like the frequency of doing something. So how do you assess yourself using your net worth? Your net worth is usually your assets minus your liabilities. Because at the end of the day, why we remove liabilities is because you've got to pay that money back, right? No matter what happens, you've got to pay that money back. Even banks rarely forgive loans, even when you're deceased. Your estate will usually have to pay it back. So what do you have left after you have paid off your liabilities? What do you have left? When you count your car, things you can sell to get money. When you count your car, your stocks, all of your investments, your business, your precious metals, what do you have left after you've taken off that loan and that debt that you got, or that debt that you got from your friend? How do you set your goals? What do you want for yourself? How do you set your goals? First of all, if you're setting goals, you need to make sure that your goals are SMART. SMART means they are specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based. This is because, like, if you're not specific about your goal, it's just a dream. If you go like, you know what, I want to own a house. Yeah, you want to own a house, but you want to own a house. Where do you want to own a house? What type of house do you want to own? Right? How much is it going to cost? Are you going to build the house? Are you going to buy the house? How many bedrooms do you want in that house? That's the idea of being specific. What exactly is it that you want from this goal that you're setting? What is it that you want? Here, this is where I usually tell my clients, think about yourself anytime. Where do you see yourself in 3 months? Sit back and think and see and picture yourself. Where do I see myself in 3 months, in 3 years? Do you see yourself seated at a beach somewhere? At your home? Do you see yourself with your friends throwing a party, having Sunday lunch with your family, with all of your family? You've hosted them at your house. Do you see yourself in the Bahamas? Where do you see yourself? Do you see yourself lying on the beach with a pineapple in your hand? What is it that you want? What is your dream? Right? So be specific. After this, usually I tell them to draw it out. Personally, I'm very, very terrible at art, so I never draw it out. I just do it. I just write it out, and writing has helped me so much because I usually go back and read through. So you need to be specific. If you can draw yourself in that dream and put it up somewhere. Start to look at it, and you know exactly what you want. And then you need to make sure it's measurable. Right? Make sure it's measurable. That you can measure the success. You want a house, complete, furnished, everything. I want a house here. So what is the measure of it? Maybe the money that you need, right? You staying in it. Your measure may be you actually moving in and staying in that house. That may be your measure of success. Your measure of success may be having finished your professional course. Right? Having those words CPA at the end, CFA at the end of your name. That is your measure of success. Make sure it's measurable, that you can see that you're not moving from here to here. And the other thing is it needs to be attainable. Do not put it attainable. Generally, it needs to be within your capabilities, right? So if you're earning 2 million shillings and you're saying that you want to save, you're earning 2 million shillings, you have rent of about 500K, you give your mom or your family about 500K, your what? Your maybe food and everything else takes about, generally maybe you spend about 1.6, right? So you have 400,000 shillings left. Then you say you want to buy a car in 1 year, and the car is how much? Is 40 million shillings, and you want it in 1 year without you having to borrow money. That's not attainable. That's not within your capability, because the only money you have left over is 400,000 shillings. And this is even before you save for an emergency fund, right? The only money you have left over is 400,000, and at most in 1 year, 400,000 without you touching it can get you 4.8 million. That's not attainable. You cannot buy a car of 30 million shillings in 1 year when the most money you can save is 400,000 shillings. You need to review your goals at this point in time. And then it needs to be relevant. This is where our values and what we cherish come in. because sometimes we try and set goals that are not ours because you see someone else doing it, or because your parents wanted it for you. You try and set that goal, and it's not relevant to you. It's not relevant to whatever you want to do. It's very hard to achieve something you're not interested in. So it needs to be relevant. If you cherish family, why are you investing in something? Why are you putting money in something that is taking you away from your family, only for you to be miserable, right? Because the idea here at the end of the day is for you to make money and be happy with your money. So if you cherish family, why are you being miserable by investing in something that's going to take you away? Then it needs to be time-based or time-bound. You want to build a house by when? By when? I want to build a house by the beach in Mombasa by 2026. That is your goal. So you know by 2026, you either have achieved your goal or you haven't achieved your goal. And then how do you implement? You can implement your goals by managing your cash and debt in the short term. These are the tools and techniques we're going to look at next week in how to manage your cash and debt. Then also figure out what is going to limit my savings capacity, because for you to achieve any of your goals, especially those that involve money, you need to be able to save. So what is it that is affecting your savings capacity for you to achieve your goals? Is it because normally we make plans? We're going to look at some of the things that make us fail to actually achieve our goals. We make plans, but then we do not think about, excuse me, the negative behaviors that are there that will hurt us, right? So, and then the other thing is, how much money am I going to risk to build wealth? You want to plan for your finances. How much money are you going to risk for you to build this wealth, right? And how are you going to protect this wealth? People usually keep on building, but forget to protect the wealth. And then how do I use technology to make it more efficient? In this day and era in 2022, if you're not using technology to make money, generally to bring in money and for you to take out money, you are doing yourself a disservice. So we are going to look at the ways you can use technology to do what? To help you. So for example, now in your planning, you have phones. You can go down in your notes and write, this is what I want to achieve. You can download applications that will help you monitor your project, set your goals, measure your goals, and help you build habits. So why aren't we achieving our goals? One is planning fallacy. Here you plan for less time than is actually required. This is because you keep on putting each and every step in something very, very broad. So the way to do with planning fallacy is break each goal down into individual steps, then gauge from there. Gauge from there and see how much time do I need. If you want 30 million in 3 years, right? Break it down. How am I actually going to make this money? How am I going to make each year? How am I going to save each year? So that you can see, is it really attainable? Because you may plan and it just doesn't come. Then the other thing is false hope fallacy. This is when you start with an unreasonable goal in mind. You know you clearly cannot achieve it, You're trying to build castles in the air. You want a unicorn. So you just need to be realistic. Yeah, the sky is the limit, but you need to be realistic with your goals. You need to be realistic with yourself and go like, you know what? I mean, this is what I can do, and this is what I can achieve. So let me not lie to myself. It's just being realistic so that your dreams aren't crushed halfway after you invested all of this time and all of this effort. Then progress bias. Here is where we overestimate the effects of our goals and ignore those behaviors that underestimate them. So for example, you want to you want to have the credentials CFA at the end of your name, right? You know you need to because I keep on telling people, usually if you're doing a CFA, PhD, or a CPA, sometimes you, like, if you're doing a professional course generally, usually that means you're working, you need to give up one thing. If you're working your professional course on your social life, usually give up one of the three, because it's hard. It's hard to continue, because everything requires so much time. I was listening to a gentleman on YouTube who was talking about strategy and strategic thinking. And he said that you cannot only be present 10% of the time. You need to be present for yourself all of the time. So what are those negative behaviors that are going to undermine you achieving your goals, right? Is it the going out? Is it the peer pressure that's going to cut off from the reading? Because you've got to read, you've got to finish this project, but then you decide, you know what, let me go and chill with my friends. If you're going to drink, you get hangover and all of those things. All of those, like, it's a ripple effect. I keep on giving, I think, an example about me and class, that I always make sure if I want to achieve a certain GPAs, I always make sure I attend class. I always make sure I attend class, because the one day I miss class, it's all going to go downhill. So I always try to avoid those negative habits that are going to make me miss class. Right? So that means saying no to my friends. And now you see my classes in the evening, 5:30 to 9:30 p.m. Monday to Friday. That means saying no to my friends over the week, like to like chilling plans and whatever. So I identified them and like my weaknesses and those negative behaviors. I come back, I sleep early to make sure, you know what, because I have to get up and work tomorrow. I have to attend class. I don't want to get tired. Otherwise, if I'm tired, if I don't sleep well, I'm not going to be productive the following day, yet I need to be up there and to be awake. So you need to focus on the process, like do a little bit every day instead of doing pump it in today, rest for like a week or two, pump, like for some people it may work, but usually in your goals it doesn't work. Consistency, small steps, even when you're starting to save, small steps just to build a habit. Then the sunk cost fallacy. Here, this is when people do not want to give up their goals, even if they've seen that it's wrong. For example, people who own businesses. You know the business has died, it's time to die, but then you keep on going after it and at it and at it. And it's just taking money out of you. Just give up, right? Sometimes it's hard to give up, I know, because of we're thinking of now what is society going to think, especially if they're like career goals and whatever. Yet we know that it's not the best thing for us. But we are going like, I've spent too much time doing this and investing in this. So even if you spend too much time, you can go and rebuild. You never know, you may be great, you may be greater. It's easier for you to work on and improve on something that you're extremely good at than trying to work on something that you're not good at. Take, for example, if you know you're building maybe a business, right? If you've read books, there's one book called Built to Last, where they talk about visionary companies. They talk about visionary companies and they say that how this was actually built. So Sir Richard Branson, the owner of Virgin, the way he built his business, he knew his weaknesses. He's not a very sharp man, but he knows how to implement, right? So he went like, you know what, I am going to get someone. Let me find someone who is good at finance, someone who's good at marketing. Tracy, I'm coming to you very soon because I need your help. Someone who's like, find someone who is good at those functions that you're not good at. That's what creates synergy, right? That's what creates synergy. So if you know you're not good at this, stop wasting time in it and go and be great at the things that you can actually do. Go and excel at the things you can actually do. Do not say, oh, I've spent so much time and effort doing this. I've done what? I cannot give up right now. You miss out on your greatness because you're going like, I've spent so much time and effort. It has taken you 10 years. What if it takes you 1 year to do this? So sunk cost fallacy is really something that you should really avoid. How can you do it? How can you avoid it? Plan better. Move on and make a better plan. Go and assess yourself. What do I actually want to do? And then seek professional advice. Go to people and then they help you. Right? If you don't know something, it's okay. When I teach, I draw from my examples from myself because I think I look back and I see. When I teach and I don't know something, because first of all, internet is there and people know things, like students know things. Even you guys may know different things, like so much more way than me. I go like, what? I do not know. It is always better for you to say I don't know than pretend that you know, right? So seek professional advice if you're not sure. So in the end, you need to be consistent with your goals for you to achieve your financial goals. You need to be consistent. Consistency is key. You do not need, sometimes you need a bit of motivation, but you need to stay consistent. Then the one thing you need to keep in mind is that change is the only constant. I'm sorry, I forgot to change this. Change is the only constant. Change is the only constant thing. We keep on changing and we keep on evolving. So your plans need to keep on changing and keep on evolving. If you see that, revise, plan, run, review, revise, plan, run, review. Because who knew 2022 would have missed out on whatever is going on actually the whole world for 2 years, right? You had to revise. Most of us had to revise our plans and see now what are we doing now. Personally, I had to revise my plans, which hurt me so much, but I revised my plan, but then I ended up building this business to what I didn't think I would actually do so, right? And then seek knowledge. Seek knowledge the way you can. Go and read blogs, go and read books. Seek knowledge. Thank you so much for listening to me. This is the end of the presentation. It's time for any Q&A. Yes, I will share with you the slides in your emails. If there are any questions, you can unmute yourself and speak or type in the chat. Otherwise, thank you so much for attending and listening to me. I hope you picked out something. You're welcome, Daisy. Thank you for attending. So Jessica, which personality do you think you resonated with so much?
Security.
I could have a mix of two. I'm a saver, and I don't know if it was called saver, but also I like security.
Yeah.
Yeah. So actually, that for me, I don't even have a question. That exactly stood out for me because I've never thought about money personalities. I've always thought that like you just have to know what you're supposed to do and then do exactly that. But now that you talked about the money personalities, I think it gives more context as to why even sometimes when you know what you're supposed to do, you never do it. So understanding my money personality actually helps me to know maybe what to deal with, or even like when you talked about choosing a partner, like some partners are not even compatible, like if you look at the money personality. So that really stood out for me.
Yeah, true. Because not all advice works for everyone.
Yes.
Yeah, so people who generalize, no, not all advice works for everyone. Yes, I'm going to share this presentation with you on your emails. Maria, which personality stood out for you, if you don't mind sharing with us? Anyone has any questions, comments? Zoom user, there's no name. You're saying you're a spender, you have to work on that. You know, the idea about a spender is they get a rush on, you can actually leverage it. They get a rush from spending. So why don't you spend and invest, right? Put your money in investments. They get a rush from spending. So put your money in investments, because the idea is you like to spend money, put it in investments. Find a way to leverage your personality. Yeah, it is possible to have a mix of all, though one or two will be dominant. It is very possible to have a mix of all. Tracy, please unmute yourself and speak.
Okay. So what has stood out for me as well is the personalities. Now I'm thinking about what personality I could be, and I am inclined to think I am most, apart from like spending, I do not splash money, but then I have like those few moments, like I think about something and I'm like, no, I have to get it. Like I will not settle until I get it. And yet I actually save money. I love security and I do invest as well, because I have a business, and business, regardless of what you're doing, I mean, unless you're investing in unit trusts or something, there'll always be a risk, right? I do
Yeah.
save money. I love security, but like I still have, I'd say sometimes I impulsively spend, even if it doesn't really affect my finances as much, because I think I save and I plan more than I have fewer times that I impulse save. But that's something for me to think about. It was really interesting, really, really interesting.
Thank you. I believe if you save, right? You have an income, you can meet all of your basic needs. You save money for the future and you have some money left.
Mm-hmm.
You are allowed to be impulsive a bit. The idea
I
about
feel so guilty sometimes. And I'm like, oh my gosh, Tracy, you have this goal. You're supposed to save this much money and you want, and I like good things, but they don't come so cheaply. So
yeah,
the expense is usually like a little bit expensive, but I get so guilty after. I guess I'm learning to be like simpler, rather fairer on myself, because I
yeah,
honestly don't do it that often. But because I'm like principled and stuff and really strict with myself, sometimes it gets to me. I'm like, you had a plan. You had to save this much money, and here you are taking a whole 300K off of it. And I'm like, oh, whatever. Like the end goal is heaven.
correct.
Sometimes.
I know, I know, but think of it as a reward. Maybe sometimes the reason as to why we have this impulse purchases, because sometimes we take a little bit long to reward ourselves. So
Yeah,
plan
you're right.
yourself. Maybe every 3 months, plan to reward yourself with that very nice, expensive thing that you want.
That's a good
Because
idea.
plan to reward yourself.
That's a really good idea. I could look at it that way. That way I won't feel guilty and will
Yeah,
have planned for the purchase because I'm a planner. So yeah, it's really interesting. The
yeah,
personalities.
yeah. Thank you for sharing. Daisy says, I am too good with saving, unlike investing. Help. Yes, Daisy, that's why this business is here, and this financial literacy, this wealth masterclass let's start with the wealth masterclass with investing, and then you can come and we give you the advice. Will definitely help you with investing, because the goal here is to create more money and increase our income so that we are okay at the end of the day. Biamukama says, do you create an emergency fund before you start investing? Typically, yes, but generally, I usually tell people to do it at the same time, if you can. Because the idea of investing is to grow your money. So if you can, you're growing your money can mean that money becoming your emergency fund at the end of the day. But I usually advise people where you can, especially if you have a little bit of leeway in your income, you should do it at the same time concurrently, because it helps. Because you're starting to invest earlier and saving earlier. The emergency fund is cash. Yes, it's there, but then it's not growing. So for example, I put some of my emergency fund money in treasury bills just to make sure that it retains purchasing power. But it's not really growing, right? So you do it at the same time. You do it at the same time as you put some money this side. You can come and restructure it for you. You put some money this side, you put some money on this other side, so that you actually get some compound interest, especially if you're investing for the future, for retirement. Because sometimes investment opportunities comes once in a while. Typically you're supposed to save to invest. Normally, I keep on telling people to have an investment fund. You're supposed to save to invest, because ideally the money you invest, you should be willing to lose it. At the end of the day, the ultimate investment is real assets, but you should be willing to lose it. Even in real assets, sometimes someone can just come and demolish your building, which is rare, but you should be willing to lose it. So save to invest, do it at the same time. You're welcome, Daisy. Thank you so much for attending. Any other questions? Anyone wants to share anything?
Maybe I could share something that when I don't remember, Vika said she feels guilty when she's spending some money sometimes. Well, I don't practice this very well, but I think if I did, it would work. I learned it from some YouTuber called Shemo Polot. There was this, he created a Google sheet with the income and broken down in those percentages, which I think most people have come across, that the tithe, save, offer, expenditure. And so if you're spending money, if you've already taken off money for saving, let's say it's 20% of your salary, investment is 10% of your salary, then expenditure is maybe 60%. If you're spending money from the 60% to reward yourself with something good, the guilt is lessened, because you're not spending the wrong money. You've put away the other money into what you wanted to do for you, and then you spend it. Like the guilt will be minimized in that case. I might be wrong or it, I know. But thank you very much.
Thank you so much for sharing. Any other questions? If there are no more, please. Thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate, and thank you for sharing. It's very, very interactive. I hope you keep on sharing, and see you next weekend. Sorry, next Wednesday. I don't know why I'm thinking about the weekend, but see you next Wednesday, and happy Easter to all of you. I will share the slides and the recording. Maybe you should get us more mails, Biamukama. You have friends, you should share. Once the link hits your inbox for next week's class, you can share with them. Have a great Easter. Bye. Thank you for
Before you go, maybe you could share the flyer for the program, and then we could, like, all of us that have attended today, because I know this is going to be useful for a lot of people, especially young people, so that we share it in our platforms, on our social media, and it attracts like more people.
All right, definitely. I'm going to share it with you in your emails too when I send out the recording and the slides.
Okay, awesome.
All right.
I wanted to say that thank you so much, Amina. I can't believe that this is free. I remember when I saw it on Twitter, my first question was that, I think I asked how much it was going to cost us, and you were like, it's free. So thank you so much for sharing your knowledge. It's very uncommon to find people that are willing to give freebies. Yeah. So thank you so much. I appreciate you.
You're welcome. Thank you for logging on.